Teaching and learning with Mr. Miller.
Hello everybody, today we're looking at the basics of typography in Photoshop. As you can see, I've got a Photoshop page open. I've chosen a A4 portrait page just as a default, as a template. Obviously you can do it whichever way you want to. If you need to change that, you can go to File, New, and you've got loads of presets there that you can open up there. But like I said, I'm going to be using a A4 portrait. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type something. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to grab the type tool there. This is actually the horizontal type tool. If you click and hold, you can see you get loads of different choices there. But I'm just going to grab the horizontal one and I'm just going to type something there. I'm going to type typography is fun. Now I've written it in capitals. That's a bit of a tip, by the way. I find very often writing in uppercase looks better, but you don't have to. If you're writing it as a title, give it a go either way and see which one looks better. I mean, the first thing you can see there is that it's too large a font. I've got it at 125. That's not going to really work. So if I press Command A, I'm using a Mac, it's Control A on a PC. But if I press Command A, you'll see that will highlight everything, and then I can change a few of the basic things up here. I'm going to have it left aligned, left justified. You can do it middle or right as necessary. In fact, you know what? I'll do it in the middle because that might make this a little bit easier to scale up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the font size. I'm going to choose 72. And if I'm right, 72 is actually an inch. I think that's true. Is it a pica, an inch? I can't remember now. But then you can see if this was an actual A4 page, you'd see just exactly how it would be. So if you had a piece of A4 paper next to you while you're doing it, you can kind of get an idea as to what it would look like. Now, I think that the word typography looks good in terms of font size, but I think that these could probably be a little bit bigger. So if I grab my type tool and just click back on it, if I just highlight these words, I can change the size of those a little bit, so I can make them bigger. So actually, I'll make those 125, and you can see what's kind of happening there. It's changing this font size without changing this, and what we could do is we can kind of block it, you know, and try and make it the same size. It might look good, it might not. Tell you what, let's type in another word there. Let's type in really fun, and now what I can do is I can change that all to 72. And that changes it a little bit. Okay, yeah, so this might work a little bit better then. So what I can do is now I can change this font size so it kind of works so that it's blocked. I will left justify it. Let's put that there. Now one thing I can do is I can change that font size. I can make that something like 60. Right, that didn't work too well. Plus didn't change that. So let's go for something like 70, and you can see I'm slowly getting close to it being aligned there. So let's go for 68. Yep, that looks like it's going to work. So that's one way that I can block it there. So now what I've got is all my text is kind of aligned like that. That's one way you can do it, but there are other ways you can do it as well. So here is some typography terminology for you. So the first one we're going to be looking at is leading. And the reason it's called leading is because back in the old days of a print press, they would put lead in between the lines of the text in order to separate it. So if you just highlight everything, and then if you hold down Alt, might be Option on a PC, I think, hold down Alt and press the up and down keys, you'll see you can change it. I mean, good tip is usually try and get it just there you go. So that should work quite nicely. But you might want to change it individually. You might want to make it a little bit different. You might want to go quite close up like that. I think that kind of works. Another one that we can talk about is tracking. So if you highlight everything again and then hold Alt, you can go left or right, and it tracks all of your letters and it will change everything individually and uniformly as well. And the last one, which is probably the one that you're going to hear most, is kerning, which is where you change the gap in between the individual letters. So we can actually change this. We can make this look a little bit more fun like that. And if I get those connecting, that sometimes looks good. Try not to go too arty. One thing you've got to remember about a typeface and a font is that actually people have spent ages carefully planning and creating these things. So if you come along and just change it, You know, you're changing, arguably, someone else's artwork. Doesn't always make it better. But sometimes you can do some things to make it just a little bit better. You know, I think I might change that a bit. And like that. And that's one thing that you can do there. If you wanted to, you can change the color, Command A, and you just get a different color there. You know, you can make it red. Good tip, don't go for primary colors. That looks awful. So going for something like a darker shade or a lighter tint, you know, something like that might work better. I don't think I'd really go for red. It's a bit of a strong color anyway. Let's just stick with black for now. And there's some other fun things you can do as well. Obviously, same with everything. If you right click and go to blending options, you can bevel and emboss it. You can put like a drop shadow. You could put a stroke if you wanted to. You know, create like a white stroke around it. Might look good. I mean, you can't really see it at the moment because it's on a different background. But if I go for layer, and let's go for new fill layer. And we'll just go for a black. And there you go. You'll probably be able to see. There we go. So we've got like a nice white stroke around it. And you can change that as you need to as well. Right, let's delete those things there. Some other things you're going to need to do, download some nice fonts. Obviously, the fonts that you get in Adobe Photoshop are going to be nice, but they're not going to be perfect. So I always use DAF font. It's been around for years. I'm sure there's loads of other ones as well. If you go to Creative Block, you'll probably find something about best free fonts. Google that. That's Creative and then BLOQ. But if you come here to the font, you'll see there's things like the basic fonts here, and I would just go for these. Now, you can see what a serif is. A serif is something that has essentially all these little flicks on it, you know, and it's got slightly thinner and fatter bits as it goes round. Generally considered to be a bit more formal. A sans serif, sans for Latin means without, you know, so basically it's just without all those flicks. And look, you got some nice things there. You know, that Helvetica is quite nice. It looks like a play on Helvetica. That's, you know, quite a bold one there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a really bold one. I think the bold font probably works, doesn't it? So I'm going to download that. If you're using a Mac, it's really easy to install fonts. I'm not really sure how to do it on a PC. But if you are doing it on a Mac, yeah, you literally just open the file and install font when it says install font. So there we go. I'll install that. And then close that down. And that should be in there now. So if I go back to my type tool, and if I just type the word type, you know, we can make that huge. And what have I got? It's the bold font, was it? The bold font. There we go. Okay, and let's make that 125. Tell you what, let's make that 250. See how big that is. Okay, that's quite fun. There we go. And I can do something like that. I'm going to kern that a little bit, just so it's just about touching. It's not a good idea, but for the sake of this, it'll work. Tell you what, I'll do that. Yeah, you can see it's not as high there. Probably not the best font to be doing this with, but it works. There we go. Put that dead center. There you go, or center top, I should say. And then what we can do is we can play around with it as well. So one good thing that I like to do is if you download a photograph, I'm using Pexels again, as I always have. Download a nice photo. There you go, this one will work really well. So you download this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that in here. I'm going to make it the entire size of the page. There we go. And then if I put my type on top, what I can do now is I can actually kind of reverse this and have it completely black and then just the image through that. You've probably seen that in quite a lot of things. So one way we can do that is let's go to, let's make a new fill layer again. Let's just go for a classic black and we'll put that on top. And now what I can do is I can highlight this by, if I right click or double finger click on the actual type logo there, I can go to select pixels. It selects those. With that selected, I can then go on to this color fill, press delete. I suppose I could press Command X. And then hopefully it should have disappeared. Oh, I might need to rasterize this first. Let's rasterize it by 2-finger click and then rasterize. There we go. So you're going to rasterize, and you can see what I've done there. You can see it's got the word type removed there. You can't see it because the type's on top. So if I just hide that, and then you've got something that looks like that. So you can make some nice posters with that. That works quite well. So there you go. There's the basics of typography there. Give it a go on Photoshop and try and create something that looks a little bit more artistic, you know, than just using something like Times New Roman or Calibri, those default fonts. Don't use Comic Sans, obviously. That's not funny anymore. Don't use Papyrus. Yeah, and if you don't know what to use, literally just Google it, you know, best free fonts, and you'll get loads of stuff. There's that creative block one that's going to come up. There we go, you know, best free fonts for designers, and it's always updated. So if you don't know what to do, literally just Google it, okay? There's loads of people out there that know better than us. Might as well listen to them. Okay, thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time.